I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Dean with the JoBlo Movie Network. Sometimes the best movie of the year does not always win Best Picture, at least in our opinion. Let's count down JoBlo's top 10 Best Picture nominees that didn't win. Number 10 is a tough one to say because the winner that year was Kramer vs. Kramer, which really did make a significant social impact on the world at that time. We aren't surprised since the movie really was Oscar bait. However, our pick for 1979 and what should have won was definitely Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. This movie has stood the test of time far longer than that year's winner and is still heavily referenced today. Number 9 is a classic mob movie that is probably the movie that all other mob movies are judged against. Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas was nominated for Best Picture, and rightfully so, but lost to Kevin Costner's Pocahontas story retelling in Dances with Wolves. While Costner's film is a great movie, Goodfellas is widely considered one of the best films of all time on many lists year after year, and definitely should have been the Best Picture for 1990. Number 8 is just a travesty. While we appreciate classic Broadway musicals such as My Fair Lady, which won Best Picture in 1964, the real winner that year should have been Stanley Kubrick's Cold War classic, Dr. Strangelove. We recognize that it was a very artsy and kooky movie, but there's no doubt that the typical Academy voter would not have appreciated such a far-out production. Regardless, it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards and ended up empty-handed, which in our book is tragic. For number 7, we're going way back to Best Picture nominees for 1950. The winner was All About Eve, considered to be Bette Davis's finest role in her career and a favorite film of the Hollywood scene. It's hard to disagree with the Academy on this one, but our choice would have been Sunset Boulevard, acclaimed director Billy Wilder's take on Hollywood and the lifestyle of those in the showbiz world. We aren't alone either, since this movie is consistently in the top 100 films of the 20th century and deserved the recognition. Number 6 is the holiday classic It's a Wonderful Life, the Frank Capra produced and directed film starring James Stewart and Donna Reed at the height of their popularity. Even as old as it is, the movie and its message has held up extremely well for the last 70 years and should have gotten the recognition it deserved. It was nominated for 5 Oscars and took home none, losing the biggest prize of Best Picture to the forgotten film The Best Years of Our Lives. Number 5 is an example of another tough year for Best Picture nominees. The winner that year was The Bridge on the River Kwai, a classic war epic that is still highly regarded today and definitely deserves the praise. But the better movie of that year, in our opinion, really belongs to 12 Angry Men. While it was a much smaller production and certainly no epic, it is a masterclass in acting, dialogue, and character development. While it did lose the Oscar, the film has been recognized by being remade and referenced countless times. Number 4 is going way back to 1939, another extremely tough year to pick a winner, but social culture at large will likely agree with us on this one. Gone with the Wind took home the big prize that year, and rightfully so. That film had a huge cultural impact and is still widely referenced and praised. But you know what else came out that year? The Wizard of Oz. While Gone with the Wind is significant, it's hard to argue with the sheer production value, cultural significance, and longevity of one of the greatest films of all time. This next entry is a real odd one. Does anyone watching this video know the movie How Green Was My Valley? Anyone? Well, in 1941, that film beat out not just The Maltese Falcon, but also our pick for Best Picture that year, Citizen Kane. It's a crime to think the Academy did not choose what is widely considered the single best film of all time as Best Picture that year. Hindsight is 20/20, as they say, and maybe they had no idea at the time what the long-time perception of Citizen Kane would be, but they definitely dropped the ball that year. Number 2 was the year that Quentin Tarantino really became a force to be reckoned with. 1994 saw the release of Pulp Fiction, which many believe to still be the best film from Tarantino's filmography, and one of the best films of the last few decades. While it wasn't your typical Oscar fare, it ended up getting 7 nominations, including Best Picture, only to be beaten over and over by Forrest Gump. While we love us some Gump around here, and certainly recognize the greatness of that movie, Pulp Fiction should have been the winner of the two. We're going to cheat a bit here on number 1 because of how significant 1994 just was. We just talked about Pulp Fiction being the big loser to Forrest Gump, but you know what else was a tragic loser that year? The Shawshank Redemption. Frank Darabont's adaptation from the Stephen King novel was also nominated 7 times, the same as Pulp Fiction, and was also beaten senseless by the force of Forrest Gump, sweeping the awards that year. Had either of those other 2 movies been nominated other years, we believe each of those would have walked away with Best Picture. So there's our top 10 Best Picture nominees that didn't win. Tell us down below which one is your favorite. I'm Jason Dean for the JoBlo Movie Network, and thanks for watching.